Hi everyone. So it looks like the video I was recording just somehow got deleted, and I know the reason. But anyways, I'll start again and try to make this as short as possible. So my friend Victoria Everett has a problem, and I thought I would like to address it because I think a lot of people have this issue, and the issue stems from low self-esteem. So there's so much that I could say, and I'm going to let you read this, by the way. I'm just going to read bit by bit and address each thing as I come along. Now, don't, just a note that I am not an expert in any way, shape, or form, but this is what I've learned over the years. I've had low self esteem in the past, and I've thought, or maybe it was true, that people were like talking behind my back, and I heard people criticizing me, especially women criticizing me about the way I looked, the way I dressed, and just giggling and laughing at me. And now I understand that they were really laughing at themselves because they probably had low self esteem. So I was in a relationship not long ago where the person would roll their eyes when I would say things they didn't agree with. I was often I was told often I should do this or that, or I should have done this or that. I never felt fully accepted. I don't think I don't even think this person liked me. I tried not to take any of it on myself and let that be their problem. But regardless, I started feeling really bad about myself and kept getting sick. I kept thinking I needed to talk more, I needed to talk less, I needed to listen more, I needed to listen less. I lost sight of who I was. I ended the relationship after not too long, but still felt like I had failed. I felt I didn't do enough to work things out. Again, I could say so much just about this one paragraph alone. It could cover a book probably. So again, I'll try to keep this short. So first of all, if someone is really criticizing you harshly and they are trying to change you, first of all, this is not the person you should really be with. That's number one. Another thing is that automatically, before you go with anyone and go in a relationship with anyone, you should be fully have full high self-esteem. Low self-esteem will totally ruin you. If you don't love yourself, fully unconditionally love yourself, then you're not going to love others. You're going to always think that, oh, do they really love me? And things like that. So I don't even think this person liked me. So maybe we don't love ourselves. We don't like ourselves enough. And so that's the thing. Now, again, going back to the story I want to tell you is that when I was on a bus or anywhere in school or wherever it was, I always thought, from time to time, I thought that girls were making fun of me. And I always thought that they were laughing and making fun of me the way I dressed or the way I looked or whatever. And eventually, that after years of that, it got to the point where I got totally crazy, and I just told myself I don't want to hear these voices any longer. So you know what I did? I just gave up. I said, screw what people think of me or how I dress. I'll be just who I am because that's who I am. Now I understand when I was younger, of course, a lot of what my appearance, maybe my clothes or my hair or the way I looked, was a lot to do with my mother because some way she kind of dressed me or she kind of bought my clothes for me, and that's just how it is. But once I had the control of what I wanted to buy, what I wanted to wear, and how I wanted to look, then I started to appreciate myself more. I then eventually, I'm not sure when it was, but I eventually turned on the radio one day, and this was actually several times. So there was this after hours radio program on the, I think it was on the FM or AM radio, I can't remember. And anyways, and now I hardly ever listen to the radio, but there was this after hour program about this guy who basically was teaching other guys how to get any woman for a relationship or dating or one night stand, how to get anyone. And the one thing he was teaching is to be very high, to have very high self esteem and to love ourselves as much as we possibly can. He talked about this, and this was the main premise. And especially this one time that I listened to that program, because I listened to it several times. At one time, listening to it, basically, I he said that he has a lot of mirrors in his place where he lives, and that he always looks in the mirror and says, I love you," like he really loves himself. So he has really high self-esteem. And he's very confident when he talks to women. That's another thing, or when he talks in general to anybody. He has very high self-esteem and a lot of confidence. So no matter, and I learned this from vegan advocacy, and no matter how your voice shakes or how you look, we have to advocate for non-human animals, for the environment. And no matter how we sound, we have to promote veganism. So no matter how I sound here, no matter what it is, and even if I make mistakes with what I say, nothing is mistake, because we all learn. We're all here together to try to bring all of us to that source, to love, because source is basically, or God is basically love, unconditional love for all the beings. And so if we think we failed, or if we think we're not good enough, or if we think, we don't love ourselves, and we think we have anxiety, and we go into public and we have anxiety because we feel we don't love ourselves enough, or we don't love ourselves at all, that is something that we learn from. And if we want to ever go beyond this, go beyond into improving or to eliminating all these bad things like anxiety and low self-esteem and so forth, we got to just tell ourselves, do we really want this to go on and on and on and on? Do we really want to have low self-esteem? Do I really want, if I have a child, for example, do I really want my child to grow up this way, to have low self-esteem? So there's no magic words that anyone can say to get people to start having high self-esteem. But we have to start thinking about these things and start understanding that's what I want, and I need to get there. Just like if somebody wants to go vegan, and for some reason they always have these roadblocks and reasons why they can't be vegan, but they know they want to get there, they just have to keep going further and further as far as they possibly can to the veganism, and of course not stopping there, but keep going, past veganism. Because once you're vegan, you just don't stop. You keep going. You keep reaching higher and higher. So anytime we are in a bad situation or bad event, or maybe we think we failed or something like that, no, it's good situation. Every event, every situation is a good situation, because we can learn from that. We can learn from that. And I don't see any situation as a bad situation. We learn from all our situations. So even if we have thoughts that lead to a bad situation, or eventually lead to a bad situation. Or maybe we think that that person is not loving us, or what have you. These are thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. And a lot of times we tend to, because of our culture, we tend to, because they, of course, our culture, all the institutions within our culture, all the corporations, all the governments, etc., are programming fear and violence into us and negativity. And they're programming all this so they can dominate and to enslave us. They are enslaving us. We are slaves, essentially, though a lot of us don't know it. And even though we may know it, we don't know to what degree of slavery that this whole culture of ours is programming into us. So we need to understand all these ideas, and we need to understand that no matter how many times we fall down, or how many times we think we failed, or whatever the case may be, if we think, oh, I have this huge problem, and how am I going to get out of it? And it keeps coming back and back, time and time again. Understand that we need to learn from these things, and we need to understand that these are not problems. These are wonderful learning lessons from the universe or God, and understanding that God is testing us to see how strong we are spiritually, mentally, and physically. Can we cope? I like to visualize it as a river, a rapid river, and we need to cross that river in order to get on the same path we were. And that we're in that river. Can we get out of that river? Can we get out of that storm? If we think that this is a big problem that we're facing right now, think about what comes next in our lives. All the so-called problems that we feel that we're going to have in our lives, think about those. There might be things that are 100 times worse. And we need to be challenged with those things. Otherwise, we're never going to improve ourselves. We're never going to improve ourselves, our lives, our futures, and the state and the future of the state of the world. So let's continue reading on here. I'm having trouble feeling confident and liking who I am as I am again. Again, this is confidence, which stems from, again, self-esteem. Self-esteem is basically how you feel you are. If you feel negatively about yourself or positively about yourself, how do you feel about yourself? When people are wearing makeup, people are wearing perfume, and people are I don't know, are doing something to try to make themselves look better than they truly are, naturally beautiful, that is low self-esteem. Oh, I'm not good enough, so I need to put something on myself. I need to make myself look more presentable. I'm not good enough as I am already. So when we wake up in the morning, we don't think we're good enough. We need to do something in order to make ourselves more handsome or beautiful. This is low self-esteem right away. If somebody needs to put makeup, somebody needs to put fake eyelashes, somebody needs breast enlargement, whatever the case may be. I mean, it's different if you need it for another reason other than vanity. But if it's for vanity, if it's for, oh, because I have low self-esteem and I feel so much better when I have makeup on, we don't feel good about ourselves. We don't feel confident. We have very low self-esteem. So let's see. I felt like all our problems were 100% my fault. Again, stems from low self-esteem. And low self-esteem stems from not loving ourselves. So really, that's what it is, not loving ourselves. I don't know why I take that on. I do know it's because of my thoughts, and I'll get back to feeling good about myself again. And it is about thoughts, our thoughts. And if we ever want to really, um, and it's hard to actually just to talk about this because there's sometimes no words that really um, describe what I'm trying to say. But basically, if we want to live mindfully in the moment, then we have to stop thinking about negative thoughts about ourselves and about others and so forth. Now, I just to let you know, I am definitely not at all perfect, so I'm still learning myself about this stuff here. And I'm learning about how to be less critical of others and to not judge and all these things. But we have all this programming put on us through our culture and institutions and others in our culture that sometimes even as vegans we kind of have these things that are still hurting us in some way. So I don't know why I take that on. I do know it's all because of my thoughts, and I'll get back to feeling good about myself again. We need to get back to feeling good about ourselves now. God, our parents, the universe, however you want to call that, created us. Our parents created us, God created us, and we are unique. No matter how we were born, or what talents we were born with, or how we were born, or how we look, we are unique. We are beautiful, each and every one of us. Now, there's a good motivational video that I have with Freely the Banana Girl somewhere on my channel. If I do find it, I'll post the link down below this video. And there's also one, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he actually basically lost both his legs and both arms. He's a very handsome gentleman. Now he has short, very short arms, basically just hands on the sides of his shoulders. But he goes around and talks about self-esteem, especially to women and girls. And though I haven't saw the, I guess, DVD presentation that he offers, as of course you have to pay for, he has a short video online that really does a good job. It kind of summarizes, I believe, everything. And that video too, if I find it, I'll post it down below. But basically, all I'm saying is that there are so many people out there that are worse off than us, or we think they're worse off than us. Maybe they're blind, or maybe they're deaf, or whatever. Maybe they lost their legs. Maybe they're in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. Whatever it is, we are so fortunate that most of us have legs and arms and really can do what we want with our lives. We can be who we want. We don't have these disabilities like some people. We are the most fortunate ones on earth. We are vegans. We are the most fortunate ones that we have and made the connection to other animals and understand that these animals are not for us to use and they're not property. We understand these issues when it comes down to veganism and fruitarianism. We understand these issues. We are so fortunate. We are the most fortunate ones on earth. If we have a chance to listen or watch this video, we're the most fortunate ones on earth. And no matter what, no matter if 500 people say that they're not attracted to us, there's always somebody out there that's attracted to us. And we're in our bodies. And in order to start to have a good life anyways, we have to think good thoughts about ourselves. Because we're not going to have a good relationship with ourselves. We're kind of like married to ourselves. Because we're in our bodies and we have to, if we don't love ourselves, then every little thing is going to bother us. We're going to have anxiety like crazy and it's going to bother us. So if we're, for example, overweight and we don't like being overweight and we don't feel good about living in our bodies and all this stuff, and we want to have a hormone treatment and become a transgendered person and go to the other like that's another thing. Transgendered people, from what I've experienced, what I've know from other people telling me, and from watching videos and from friends and so forth, it's basically from having low self-esteem, thinking that, oh, I'm not meant to be in this body, I'm not meant to be this sexual gender, and I'm not good enough, or whatever the case may be. And they think that, oh, if I get sex change, or if I get hormone therapy pills, or take some kind of pills or whatever, I'm going to like myself better, or whatever. And if some women, for example, they think, oh, my breasts they're not good, the shape of them, the size of them, whatever, I'm going to get breast enlargement. And they feel like, okay, they get breast enlargement, and maybe they do get a little bit better self-esteem of themselves. But in the end of it, you truly don't have good self-esteem of yourself. First of all, you just had an operation that totally was unnecessary. You had an operation which is totally unnatural. You had an operation which, in the first place, you should have loved yourself instead of having the operation, because that's really ruining the beautiful body temple that we were born with. We have this beautiful body that essentially we may be renting, because if we pass on to the next life, maybe somebody will use this body. So we have to understand that we don't want to ruin this precious body temple that we are living in, that we were born with. That's why I feel that things like tattoos and piercings and body modifications and all these things are just because of the fact that we have low self-esteem. People are telling us, oh, you're not worthy enough, or you don't look beautiful enough, or whatever the case may be. We have to stop and think. We live in our bodies. And sometimes no matter how many modifications we get done with our bodies, we may never fully love ourselves. And so we have to love ourselves before we get all these modifications. Forget about the modifications and start to love ourselves right now. Love ourselves right this moment. Go to the mirror and say this. Even if we don't agree or don't want to believe or whatever have you, go to the mirror and tell yourself, I love myself. I love you, Michael. I love myself. And you say it sincerely, and you keep saying it, and you keep saying it, and you're repeating it, because affirmations are the most important thing. Affirmations are the most important thing. Just like when you're learning a language, you're not going to learn that word if you don't consistently use it. Just that simple. So if you don't use a language long enough or enough, you're going to lose that language, or at least most of it. So let's continue. I know I am perfect as I am, but I don't feel it right now. So this is something similar that happened to me. So, for example, I believe in God, but not as most people view God. God, to me, is not a man, because that would be sexist. God is not white or Caucasian, because that would be racist. And God is neither not human, because that would be speciesist. So to me, God is energy. God is energy, God is source, God is universe, God is my higher conscience. So even though I trust God, I trust the universe, I trust life processes to guide me along my path, and understanding, of course, that there are going to be ups and downs, there are going to be pitfalls. And no matter how perfect we think our lives are at any given moment, there's always a chance that something bad happens to you. And that is only learning lesson and a test. So we might think at times that, oh, my life is perfect, but then when you get into a so-called bad situation, you get really depressed, and you get and you get mad and you cry and you try to understand, like, why is God putting this on me and all these bad situations one after the other, and what's happening in my life, and I don't like my life and all this stuff. So what happens? Essentially, what happens? We start to disbelieve in God, the universe. We start to think like, oh, he doesn't give me what I want, what I need. And there are a lot of bad situations that happen in my life. But the thing is, we're not highly evolved enough consciously and spiritually to understand what these bad problems are trying to tell us, what God is trying to tell us. Sometimes God does speak to us. Sometimes it's our higher consciousness that's awakening and it kind of talks to us. And then we understand what God is saying. But then there might be other pitfalls and ups and downs in the future. And we got to understand that that's what there is. There is these ups and downs because, unfortunately, we've sinned. We sinned, if you want to follow the Bible, or if you don't follow the Bible, we sinned at one point, and so now we have this concept of right and wrong. But in essence, nothing is wrong. Nothing is bad. Or at least no situation is bad. I shouldn't say that nothing is bad. Of course, something is bad. If you kick an animal, that is a bad thing, of course. But what I'm saying is, no situation is ultimately bad because we can learn, we can improve that situation. Okay? So let's say, so I am perfect as I am, but I don't feel it right now. So sometimes we might feel we love ourselves or we're perfect or whatever, but then we fall down. And that's okay in some way. We just have to learn about this, learn what happened, realign our thoughts with positivity, and start to love ourselves again and keep doing it. So, no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. And Victoria says, I know I am perfect as I am, but I don't feel it right now. No, we're not perfect, but we can start to love ourselves. And I might have imperfection on my body, but that doesn't mean I don't love that imperfection. And also to understand that we can improve ourselves in every way. Now, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say someone is overweight and they love themselves dearly. If they love themselves dearly, then they're going to think positive thoughts. They're going to think things like, I am fit. I am slim. I am doing a lot of exercise and improving my health by eating healthfully, raw fruits and vegetables. That's what you should say, or someone should say if they're overweight. Now, on the other hand, if you're overweight and you are saying, oh, I hate the way I look, I don't love myself, I'm really fat and I hate my body and all these things, and then you medicate that thoughts, the negative thoughts, with eating junk food and animal foods, that's not going to help you. Right? That's not going to help you. So what you need to do is you need to do just what I said before. Understand that you're overweight. Of course, I understand myself, my body. But understand that we love ourselves and we're trying to improve ourselves. And to think about these improvements that we are. So I'm getting fit. I am slim. All these things. I am slim, I am fit, and I am eating healthfully, and I am aligning myself with my true nature, which is kindness and compassion and wisdom and love for all beings. And because so, and we trust nature and we trust the universe and God and so forth, we know everything will turn out good. And we understand also that it does sometimes take time. We've been abusing our bodies for the longest time, eating unhealthfully. The animal products, the eggs, the dairy, the meat, the honey, whatever it is, junk food, the processed foods, all that. We need to get back to our true nature. This is an opportunity to heal this part of myself, but I feel so discouraged right now. Please send big hugs my way. You're hurting, and I can't imagine how you feel right now and how others feel when they are committing so much harm and violence to themselves. I remember my ex-girlfriend had a very, very low self-esteem and anxiety. And every little thing that I did, she thought that I didn't love her. And she thought anyways, if she wasn't with someone, she always thought that her brother is, I don't know, more important to her. No, sorry, more important to their parents than she is. So many bad things she was thinking about herself. So many bad things that she was thinking about herself. And some people say, well, it's harder to think positively about yourself if you have these deep thoughts about yourself. Now, everyone needs to heal, and we all have hurt within ourselves and that we need to heal. And some things are harder than others to heal. The biggest thing and the most important thing I feel, and the two things that I've learned being a vegan for all these years, and even before that, is love. Now, you can't love anyone before you love yourself. You can't help anyone before you help yourself. That's just how it is. If you don't eat, how are you going to feed someone else? If you don't have a home, how are you going to give a home to someone else? If you're not vegan, how are you going to get people going vegan? Like all these things. And so we need to, number one, the first thing is to love ourselves. Now, how can we start to love ourselves? Well, I've read a lot of things in the past. And there was this one meme that somebody posted, or something that they posted, which I totally forgot and don't even know where it is. I don't even know how to find it. But it was in some way correct. But how do you start to love yourselves? Let me think. The only thing is to start walking on that path to love. That's all we can do, is to start. Start somewhere. Take a small baby step closer and closer to where you want to be. Now you have to have thoughts of where you want to be. That's the power of law of attraction, is where you want to be, what you want to have. Now, of course, not in a materialistic way, but in a way that improves ourselves, that improves and helps others to become their best selves. So that's the whole thing, is really to become our best selves, to love ourselves, and to go from there in our spiritual evolutionary journey. Please send big hugs my way. So I love everyone. I love you, Victoria. I love everyone out there. I love myself. And I found loving myself more and having very high self-esteem and confidence is really a beautiful thing. I feel so high, like really just so joyful like this. So now we're going to start. We're going to go in front of a mirror and we're going to look at ourselves. Let's go to a mirror and somewhere where it's brightly lit up. So if it's dark out and you're in a dark room, you don't have any lights, put some lights on and look at yourself right in the mirror. Look at yourself. Tell yourself, I love myself. Tell yourself you're unique, a unique and beautiful being. God and our parents gave birth to us, a unique, beautiful being, who I am. I might have some faults, but doesn't matter. I might have some things that I don't like about myself, but doesn't matter. We're all improving ourselves. We're all beautiful who we are. Now I have a little, something like a cyst in a way, on my skin. I don't care. I love that part of me. It's unique. It's a unique, whatever it is on my, I can't remember the name. It's a long name, but it's a beautiful thing on my body. Now, in some way, it might hurt me when I press down on it hard, or sometimes when I don't know, when I'm doing construction or whatever it is, and then part of my skin like rubs on whatever it is, rub on a piece of wood or something, whatever. It may hurt a little bit. And that's probably the only reason why I want to get rid of it, like surgically. But otherwise, I'm beautiful, who I am and how I am, and everything about me is beautiful. And then, of course, there are times I just want to change a little bit the way I look. Maybe my beard, trim it or shave it or whatever have you. But if we truly, truly, truly felt love, we wouldn't care really the outer appearance of who we are. Because that's all vanity. That's all stems from materialism. We live in a very materialistic world. At one point in my life, I didn't like women that had hair on them. May it have been under their armpits, or in their pubic areas, or on their legs, or whatever. And I got to actually really love women that don't conform and actually have hair. I'm not saying, and I'm still learning, of course, and I'm not saying like a baboon, like hair that's growing out of control, but just hair there. And even that, I'm trying to improve myself to learn that it's not really the outer appearance of the person, but it's the inner beauty. And of course, you got to be attracted to the person on the outside in some way. But that all falls apart when we start to understand that none of this really matters. And really, the spiritual love is the most important. Physical love, yes. I mean, in some way, you got to feel love for the person that you're with, physically. But that, in the end, doesn't really matter, as in the end, it's the connection that really matters, the connection, the love between the two. So again, I'm sending big hugs and big love your way, and to everyone who's facing this problem or a very similar problem. Again, I'm not totally healed from this, and there's a lot of hurt that still within me that I need to heal. And so I hope this has been useful for you. I hope Victoria and anyone else that's listening or watching this at any time heals from this and at least improves themselves. But also essentially understanding that it is because of low self-esteem, because we're not loving ourselves. And just to continue walking further and loving ourselves just that little bit more each time. And understanding also that there is going to be somebody there, somebody for you in this world. Even if there are 50 people that find you unattractive, there might be others out there, someone out there that really finds you attractive, beautiful on the outer and inner, and really wants to be with you and loves you, wants to be with you for who you are and not what other people say you are. That's why when I do my videos, I couldn't care less what people say, because I am being sincere, being honest, and being loving and being caring and I am being truthful on the videos that I create. I stay there in front of the camera and I'm like, this is what needs to be said. If my voice shakes or if I'm not wearing a shirt or whatever have you, I will do it because the message isn't so important that needs to get out. Now, some people may criticize that video or certain parts to that video, but that is only because we are living in a materialistic world, and vanity is it's all because of materialism, vanity. So we think we need to put makeup on, or we need to wear these types of shoes or these types of brand name clothing, or we're not going to be good enough. It's all vanity. It's all materialism. And we are taught all these things through magazines and models and companies that promote these types of things and the media that promotes these types of things. It's nonsense. We got to get away from all of that. I know this has been a long video, but I really wanted to put everything into this video to get people to understand the issues that we're really facing here. A lot of vegans are actually facing these issues, and others as well. And we need to address these issues. Now, there is no magic bullet on how we should start to love ourselves, but we should take one step at a time, one baby step, and go from there. Stop listening to all the people or all the thoughts that we think we might be having or people might be saying to us. We need to stop, worrying, and we need to stop, living in the past or living in the future all the time and start living in the now, being mindful and right in the now. There's no benefit to living always in the past and blaming and shaming and thinking negatively and all these things. These are not getting us further consciously and spiritually. It's not getting us anywhere, for that matter. I mean, yeah, to understand that certain things happen in the past, we did this and that, but not to blame and shame ourselves, and not to, we got this thing on our skin, or we got a little bit overweight or something, and no, no, no. You are beautiful. You are love. You are light. We're all light workers here. What more can I say, everybody? If you have anything you want to add, please post it down below, or share your video if you have any video to add, because I think this is a very, very important question here, a very important topic to address. And I think people really need to be addressing this, because I have my own way of explaining things, which I hope I explained it good enough. And I know this video is a little bit longer video, but I think it's really important to get this message out, however long it takes to get it out, in 30 and 40 minutes or even an hour. It really needs to be said. So thank you so much for listening, all of you. I hope your lives and all lives are better, and I hope you learned from this. I hope you start taking those steps towards more love for yourself and less and less hate for yourself and negativity and negative thoughts and all these things. So we need to strive to better ourselves, to be the person we really want to be the change we really want to see in the world. If we want everyone to have love for themselves and love for others and high self-esteem and be very confident, and just confidence is really, again, it stems from vanity, stems from cultural programming, stems from materialism. So if you're not confident about who you are, your body that you're in, then you don't love yourself. You seriously don't love yourself at all, or very little, if that. If you need to put junk makeup on yourself and fake eyelashes and paint your fingernails and toenails and all these things and get breast enlargements and change your sexual orientation and not orientation, but change your sexual gender, that's not love. That's not love. So thank you again for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to also subscribe to my email newsletter list. And that's about it, everyone. Bye bye.